What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon St. Brown.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Blue Crew? This is Ball Hawk, fought to another final of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody. Woo!
All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today at Lions Talk Live. You know what? Friday morning show edition, and yes, I think we got a pretty good topic for you guys to analyze today. I'm going to be interested to see your guys' thoughts on this one. We'll dive into that during the main topic of the day, but you want to know why the Detroit Lions are one of the most unstoppable forces in the NFL this year, and let's be very fair, maybe beyond this year, we could be seeing the emergence of a 1, 2, 3, who knows after that 4-year run for the Detroit Lions. We'll dive into that during the main topic of the day. We do have 6 headlines now to get through, not just 5. I got a bonus one for you guys. But before we get into all that, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are making that march for 11,000 subs, and we're about, 40-some subs away, something like that. So if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you have a free second of time, it doesn't cost you a dang thing. Reach on down and hit that thumbs up button, that like button, etc. As you guys know, it helps every YouTube channel out exponentially. And if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan or anywhere in the continental United States, feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text. You now see my number on your screen, 269-998-2384. If you're looking for somebody who's going to save you some money, not overcharge you, not let their broker overcharge you, then you know what? Give me a call and shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. And anybody who's been in the real estate business for any while probably gets what I just said there. But all right, moving on from all that, let's go ahead and get this show rocking and going. It is a Friday, and we are just, 2 days away from this big game. And I do think it's a big game. Look what happened last night, and I'd say there's nothing more that you could say than that, just that. In the NFL or any sport, don't overlook anybody. You want to feel sorry for another team, do it when there's zeros left on the clock, not when the game's during play or whatever. So, all right, let's move on from that and get this show going. 5 headlines now coming up right about as soon as I have to find the button now. On a subtopic, I know Jason sent me a text this morning and said, hey, Tree of Destiny time's coming on up here, so we're going to have to coordinate that and get the unveiling of the Tree of Destiny for you guys here on the show. All right, here we go. 6 headlines now today. Indianapolis Colts versus Detroit. Key Lions players to know in Week 12. This is from USA Today and story by Paul Brettel. So he's identified, he believes, some key matchups here for everybody. Whether or not you guys agree, well, let's just dive into it and see. In regards to the players, hey, we all get it. Jared Goff fuels this Detroit Lions high-octane offense. Gets it humming and shaking all over the place. Still can't believe he didn't get NFC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week, but it is what it is. He's completing 73% of his complete passes and a nearly 10 yards per attempt. He's at 9.2. 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and yes, most of those interceptions came in one game. Rusher, you're going to have to stop Gibbs and Montgomery. Everybody gets that. Can the Colts do it? I think that's going to be one of the bigger questions. It's not that I don't think the Colts offense can do some stuff against us, but I do wonder if the Colts defense can slow us down. It's going to be indoors, so it's just going to be like playing at Ford Field South, and we'll see what happens there. St. Brown, been on a hot streak already this season. He's already basically at 700 yards receiving, 77 targets with 9 touchdowns. I will say also this. I think the Lions, you're starting to see in the running game more and more, see the emergence. I know we've talked about it a little bit this week with Kevin Zeitler starting to basically be a top 5 guard in the entire NFL. You could argue even maybe a top 3. But think about this. Ragnow, Zeitler, and Sewell all on one side. That's also why I think you're seeing the Lions run more and more to that side, especially if they have a tight end in play over there. It's just tough for any defense to stop it. And again, whether or not the Colts can do it, wait and see. As far as the Lions defense, I think this is going to be a big matchup for Lee McNeil and potentially Zadarius Smith. Now, Smith and McNeil, though, I think a lot of their success this weekend could come from inside interior pressure. Aaron Glenn showed you some stuff, showed all of us some stuff last week that he was going to play him up and see wide 9 technique on the end. Also have him as a standing rusher on DTIs or interior defensive pressures. And I think the combination of him and Lee McNeil coming after Anthony Richardson, boy, that could cause a whole lot of problems for the Colts offensive line, which hasn't been great. I'd say they're average at best watching them. Not that they're terrible, they're just not good. Somewhere in the middle, if you get me. But that also means who's going to be out wide to collapse the pocket. We've seen James Houston kind of emerging more and more in recent weeks. I guess you could say about a month now. Could Pascal also be someone of interest? Or maybe one of the linebackers like Trevor Nowoski, who's been used a lot on wide 9 techniques, getting after the quarterback. In regards to Jack Campbell and the linebacker core, I do think you're going to see Captain Jack take it to yet another level. He's playing very good, I think. I think he's sneakily becoming one of the better linebackers in the entire league, not just with the NFC North or not just with the Detroit Lions. I think with Alex Anzalone down, this could be a golden opportunity for Jack Campbell to really show more and more of his maturity, his development, the trust in the coaching staff has within him. I am suspecting he's going to have a pretty good game today. Sunday, not today. Although if they want to play the game today, I guess I won't stop them. All right, Lions preparing for, quote, juggernaut from the Colts quarterback, MLive.com, Kyle Austin with this one. And you did hear Aaron Glenn talk about this. Aaron Glenn had some very specific quotes, like any defensive coordinator would. Aaron Glenn, quote, a juggernaut at the quarterback position, end quote from Aaron Glenn on Thursday regarding Richardson. Quote, just to see how big he is and how he challenges people. When I say challenge people, it's listen, if you're in his way, he's going to try to run you over. And his arms are lively. So he can throw the ball all around. We all get it. He's a big body guy. He's learning how to be a quarterback in the NFL level. And he's showing some good signs of development, maturity, etc. So the Lions defense, we get it. They're going to have to group tackle this guy. They're going to have to bring him down. But the other side of that is, Richardson's had a lot of injuries last year, even this year somewhat. You get some hits on this guy, you know what? You might be seeing the backup come in pretty quick. And that hasn't gone exactly the greatest for the Colts. And nothing against Joe Flacco, but he's no longer Joe Flacco of 10 years ago. How the Detroit Lions handled the delicate balance of playing and pulling starters in blowouts. The New York Times. And I'll say this. You want to know how much the Detroit Lions I have changed as an organization? You have the New York Times, the LA Times. You have everybody, even the Washington Post, covering this team on a fairly regular basis. Let that sink in. Some of the best publications in the entire planet are focused on regularly covering your Detroit Lions. But it does do a deep dive take on how the Lions are handling it, why they're leaving players in a little bit longer, and also during, say, a 25, 30, 36-point blowout, they are trying to mix in some starters with some backups to try to develop players. I think this also is a segue into the main topic of the day, so I won't dive into it too much, but let's just say that I think MCDC, the coaching staff, have learned a lot from last year. And again, we'll dive into that more during the main topic. All right, why the Lions are the best team in the NFL, story by Sue Levine. Last word on sports. Let's start with this. The fact that national media doesn't come out and talk about all the injuries that the Detroit Lions defense has sustained throughout the season, that's probably a big reason why the Detroit Lions are so good, because the depth here. Think about just the linebacker position. You've got 2 starters out for a while with Alex Anzalone and obviously Derek Barnes. Have the Lions linebackers missed a beat when Barnes went down? I would say no. Do you really suspect there'll be a huge drop-off now that Anzalone is going to be out for some time? I would say if history is our guide with what this team has done, probably not. Now look at the defensive line. The fact that neither one of your starting defensive ends have played in some time, and the Lions are still winning, still stopping the run, and getting some pressure. Maybe not the same level you had with Aiden Hutchinson, but they're performing pretty well. That needs to be a credit and probably a reason why this Detroit Lions defense is built differently than anybody else in the NFL, or at least the vast majority of teams. Not only are your starters good, but the guys backing them up are good. And you look at these blowouts, which kind of goes to the prior topic, you're getting an opportunity to develop more and more of your depth. You've got guys like Emmanuel Mosley about ready to return to make that secondary even deeper. You've got Broderick Martin coming back, and yes, I think this kid's got tons of potential. I think he's going to be the next Iffy Melifano or Jamison Williams, because I remember there were a lot of people, their first years in the league and second years in the league, people were very down on him because, you know what, he didn't see the production right away. But I do think Broderick Martin is going to help out. John Kaminsky, when he returns, and I do think he's going to return this year, will also help out from a depth standpoint. The Lions are deep across the board. You look at running back, receiver, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, secondary, safety. You guys heard me talk about it throughout the week. I think Brandon Joseph and Lawrence Strickland would be starters on maybe a third of the NFL teams out there. So let that sink in as to why. But if you get some free time today or tomorrow, check this story out. I think it's a good read. Dan Campbell will never win NFL Coach of the Year. This is from A to Z Sports. And it's the reason why is they just think it's a bias, not to totally spoil it, but I guess there's no way to tell this story about this particular headline without spoiling it. The author of it comes out and says that he thinks Dan Campbell should be Coach of the Year. He should be in consideration probably last year. But because of the vast majority of national media kind of still views him as the knucklehead, meathead, whatever you want to say, hey, we're going to bite kneecaps, whatever, it's unfair to him. But because of that, that's why they think he will never win it. Even if the Lions go and win the Super Bowl this year, he thinks there's a vast majority of the national media reporters who are going to play a factor in this result by voting that won't vote for Dan Campbell just for that reason. All right, and then the extra headline I put in today, Detroit Lions, Terrion Arnold putting penalty-ridden start behind him, Detroit Free Press story by Dave Burkett. And I bring this up because doing a lot of the live casts or game casts, I get earlier in the year, not so much the last few weeks, but early in the year, there are a whole lot of Lions fans jumping all over this kid. You got to remember, a rookie corner in the NFL, in my opinion at least, you can have a different one, 99% of the time is not going to do very well, especially against the better receivers, which the Detroit Lions at the start of the year, I mean, think about it. The Rams had two very good, Cooper Kupp and I can't remember his other name right now. But anyways, two good receivers. Arnold was matched up with Kupp a whole lot that game. And you know what? Didn't do terribly, but didn't do great. Every week at the start of the season, he was getting matched up with just some of the creme a la creme in the NFL as far as wide receivers and having to go through a learning curve. But this guy, yes, I get he's got a little bit of a groin muscle pull right now, but this guy has shown real, in my opinion at least, real strong development and growth, and I think that's only going to keep trending before we get to the playoffs. By the time we get to the playoffs, he may be a fairly adequate, maybe even pretty good NFL starting cornerback, and as a rookie, that speaks a lot to where the future is going to be with that kid. All right, let's get on to that, out of that, I should say, and on to the main topic of the day, and I've got a bit of a one here for you guys, so I want to see what you guys have to say about it. I think, hey, you want to know why the Lions are good now? It's all because of this. All right, main topic of the day. Massive mistake for Detroit. Dan Campbell's mistake made the team. Analyzing why the Detroit Lions have become the unstoppable object that has the rest of the NFL on notice. So let's look back to last year. Let's look back to, and I tell you what, let's do it one better. Let's go back 2 years ago when really I started the show. Most of you guys know I've coached for a while now, 30 plus years. And I would say this, you can tell when a newer coach is struggling because they don't have intrinsic answers to problems. They have to think on the fly. Maybe they've never seen something before. I spoke about this ad nauseum when I first started this channel and a little bit last year, et cetera, et cetera. Same could be true for Aaron Glenn. Same could be true for Ben Johnson. You can see different situations emerge, and they didn't have the answers to it. And when you don't have the answer as the coach, your team struggles. Now I want you to take it back a step to last year, the NFC title game. It's going to haunt most Lions fans forever, the fact that we were that close to getting the Super Bowl, and it didn't happen. Now, this year, obviously, we may make it. In fact, I'm predicting that we will make it and win it. But if that moment in time doesn't happen, if that second half doesn't happen, and to me, if you guys were watching the live cast when we were doing that game, I was yelling and screaming at Jen. I was yelling and screaming at everybody on the channel. When the Lions had the opportunity on 4th and 2 to kick the field goal and reemerge a 17-point lead with half of the third quarter now gone, I said that was a massive coaching mistake. When the Lions obviously lost that game, you heard Dan Campbell, like we all did, talk about, hey, we may never get here again. It is my personal belief that when that moment happened, Dan Campbell probably faced the mirror for weeks, maybe a month or longer, saying how much he could have done this. Did they take the foot off the gas? This, that, and the other thing. Did he, as a coach, allow his guys to get too comfortable at halftime, thinking the game was over. Let's not forget CD Deuce, who's no longer here, I get it, in the second quarter when the Lions got up, I think it was 17. He's listening to the crowd, pointing at them, taunting them. And if he's one of your leaders, one of your veterans around a bunch of young guys, that's probably passing down to them as well. My personal belief, you're seeing the Lions put the foot on teams' throats, however you want to call it, choking them out, not giving them any opportunity to make a comeback because of the lessons learned in that NFC title game. It is my personal belief that mistake has fueled this Detroit Lions team. And it's also a big reason why I thought early in the season, if you saw the Lions get that killer mentality, that fact that, hey, I get you down, I'm going to beat you down. I get you down 5, it's got to become 10. 10 has got to become 20. 20 has got to become 50. That's something I've always preached as a coach. You don't ever back off another team until you know it is absolutely physically impossible for them to come back. I don't care if it's volleyball. I don't care if it's wrestling. I don't care if it's thumb wrestling. You beat somebody down and give them zero opportunity to make a comeback. And that's why I think MCDC, that learning opportunity as a coach, has paid big dividends. And I think it will the rest of his time he is a coach. I think this weekend when the Detroit Lions go out on the field against the Colts, they're going to do everything they can to bury them. They're going to do everything they can every week leading into the playoffs. And then throughout the playoffs, I get an opportunity to take a kill shot on a team. I'm doing it and not feeling any kind of regret for it. Because what happened in the NFC title game? Lions got up 17. They backed off a little bit on offense. They backed off, played a little bit more passively on defense. They lost the momentum. They gave the 49ers momentum. And then 1 or 2 plays don't go your way. And now people are in panic mode. Revisit that NFC title game. If Vildor catches that interception and don't bounce it off his face mask to Ayuk, do the Lions probably win? Probably. 4th and 2. If they don't go for it on 4th and 2, and yes, I get it. Somebody dropped a pass, but you know what? You also gave them that opportunity to drop the pass. You kick that field goal and then go up 17. Any momentum the 49ers had kind of got with that field goal is null and void. Why? You're back up 3 scores, and you've already exhausted half of the third quarter. At that point, you're forcing the 49ers to become a lot more predictable what they have to do on offense, and that's probably favoring the Detroit Lions defense. This is my opinion. This is based on all my years of coaching. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, most coaches learn it because you go through that moment. And I do think that moment in that NFC title game is going to be the reason why the Lions win the Super Bowl this year and potentially 1 or 2 others down the road. What say you do, crew? Am I overreacting this? But I do think that singular mistake will haunt Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, everybody on this team. And it haunted them all off season and fueled them into what we're seeing here now. It's also why I think they get any kind of opportunity to just bury a team by 30, 40, or 50 points. They're going to do it because they're never going to put up with that comeback stuff again. All right, Duke Crew, I've given you my thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and get to you guys, see what you have to say. Let me scroll all the way to the top. Michael D, greetings, salutations, Coach and Duke Crew. Superdome, Super Bowl, One Pride, woo, woo, and good morning to you too. Also at the bottom of the hour, we do have Curt Steele joining us at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. JDC, morning all, same to you. Jameer, grand rising everyone, back at you. Hopefully it's a great one. Dennis, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew, and same to you, my friend. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew, massive, exclamation point. Like the Super Bowl contender? Yes, we are. Woo! And I'll go with all the above. Hey, let's also not forget what happened last night. The Steelers, one of the teams being speculated to be in the Super Bowl against us. What'd they do? They went out, and I'm not going to take anything away from the Cleveland Browns. They went out and played real well. Good for them, man. Let's see. Rob, greetings, salutations, Coach of Duke Crew. The Lions are the grooviest, Daddy-O. I like the way you're thinking. Leonard, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Woo! Hit that like button, fellas. Yeah, if you can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got a little over, 600 and some odd people watching right now currently. So if you guys can help out that'd be great. Rob, my biggest mistake is usually getting out of bed in the morning. It happens, man. It happens. Sanders, hey, guys, what's this massive mistake? Massive mistake was in my opinion, the NFC title game and how that singular moment in time is rocket fuel for this year's Detroit Lions team. And I think, yes, I think against the Bears on Thanksgiving, I think this weekend against the Colts, the Green Bay Packers, whoever they face the rest of the way, you get an opportunity, you keep pouring it on so there's no chance Think about last weekend's game. Second quarter or whatever it was, Lions got up 14-3, and they got the ball back. Did you see the other team get deflated? Do you see the Jags basically just kind of emotionally divest themselves from the game? I think so. And what the Lions do? They did the right thing. You're not going to play hard. That's not on us. That's your butt. That's your fault for not getting out there. That's your fault for your coaches not motivating you, keep you professional. You know what? You don't want to play? That's fine. We're going to keep playing, and that score is going to keep going one way. You got no shot against us. JDC Magic 8 Ball says Lions Super Bowl? Question mark. Heck yeah. Exclamation point. I'll go with all of the above, man. Jason, all rise for the Honorable Coach Dan Thornton. The Tree of Destiny is ready for the unveiling. When it goes up, we say alive, Superdome, or bust. You let me know, man. I'll send you a link. We will get this thing broadcasted. We'll do a special episode. Breaking news for the Tree of Destiny. Let's see, Leonard. I don't see a massive mistake. Dan, I see a massive genius for years to come. I'm down with that, Leonard. Laughing out loud, unless you know something we don't know. So fill us in, man. Come on. Ha. All right. Well, now you know. Hopefully, at least. Hopefully. So if not, let me know and I'll repeat it. Jessica, not sure. Sanders, let's see what Coach D has for us. Fair enough. And thank you for that. Dale, good morning. Dan Ducru, band of brothers and sisters. Thank God it's Friday. There you go. Yes, it is Friday, man. Mountain Dew Friday. Rob, woo! The suspense of the mistake. What can it be? Question mark. Oh, what can it be? Question mark. Let's see, Jessica, it says the mistake made the team, so maybe it's something from the past. Yeah, 100%. That helped improve the team. It was indeed, in my opinion, at least. Michael, 64 more hours ago. It happens. It seems a little bit much, but yeah, about that. Let's see, Lions Talk fan. Maybe MCDC wore White Sox. Maybe he did. That I don't know. Dale, Terry Aller nursing a groin injury. Hopefully he can go on Sunday, but might be questionable. Might be, especially with the Bears being on Thursday. I wouldn't be surprised if they sit him out for that reason, because obviously the Bears game is a little bit more important overall than this weekend's game. But we'll wait and see what happens. Big Eddie Green's salutations! Exclamation point! Nice catch on that, Jessica. Yes, correct. Yes, the full title leads me to think it's something from the past, and it was, in my opinion. Most Steelers lost. Does that derail their contender talk? Question mark. Mainstream media attention can be fragile. It can be, but also to bring up my point, you can't ever overlook a team. You can't under prepare for a team. The teams that scare me the most as a coach are the ones that most people innately want to overlook. I'm a big proponent, man. You prepare the same for every team. You make sure that trickles down to your coaching staff, to your players. There's no days off. That never allow that to happen. And that's one thing I do continue to think. You look at this this culture we have in Detroit. You look at all they've learned over these past couple years. I do think that NFC title game, ultimately, when everything's said and done, may end up being one of the best things that's happened for this franchise for a couple years to come, because they're going to use that as internal motivation. Nobody wants to ever relive that moment. Michael D, 54 more hours. Exclamation point. Laughing out loud. I haven't had my dew this morning. Me either, man. And I get it. It affects my brain too. JDC, smile, thumbs up. Tree of Destiny. It's about here. Rob, maybe he didn't get Christie's memo on how to play his guys. It could be, man. And I don't think any coach is ever going to listen to a governor. See, Trey, what's good? All question mark. Yes, bring on the Tree of Destiny. It is here, my friend. Brent, good morning. Dan and Ducru, Lombardi, and no bus. Oh, yeah. I'll go with that. And good morning to you. Tori, I see that Dale. Good thing he's young and heals up quick. Yeah, he probably should heal up fairly quick. But again, with the next game being 4 days away, I could see where maybe they leave him out this week. Don't know that, but I could see it. Bo, Anthony Richardson needs a great game just to stay within double digits. I'd say overall I would agree with you there, Bo. If he doesn't really ball out, if that offense doesn't really produce for the Colts, then yes, I think this game will not be close. Just Green, salutations. Rob, I hope we face the Cowboys again and beat them down worse. Maybe, but it would have to be probably next year. I don't think they're making the postseason. Lions Talk Live fan, good time for Rakestraw to step in. It might be him or Vildor or somebody like that. France, good day all. I think you're right, Bo Booth. If he doesn't play at a very high level, this game could be 14 to 21 points or more. I would concur. Dale, so much shaped this team. Reason F, okay? Rob, Jessica Glenn, I agree, but the Cowboys aren't making the playoffs this season. Correct. There's no chance they get in. Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan and Ducru. Happy Friday. Let's go, Lions. Woo! And good morning to you too, my friend. Wayne, reason for success, ? Integrity and character. A lot of that does come into play, for sure. 70, good morning, boys! ! Love this channel, and I am still waiting on Broski to accept my challenge. Well, Broski's not coming back to the channel, at least under that name or account anytime soon. So you're probably not going to see him in the foreseeable future. Wayne, good morning. Dano, love the show. Give me a Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah. I don't have a Kool-Aid one, but what I'll give you is a woo on 3. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. JDC Magic 8 Ball says Lions 34, Colts 21. I'll take that. Wayne, Lions 42, Colts 17. I'll accept that as well. Susan, JDC, I like what your ball has to say. Fair enough. Susan's got 42, 24 Lions. Give me a woo, Coach Dan. All right. You want a woo? I'll give you a what the heck. We're wooing it up in here. Bo, when not to go for it on 4th down gets my vote. All right, fair enough. We'll go with that. Yeah, 100%. JDC, yeah, I thank you. Fair enough. All right, Rob, 63 to nothing. Lions and Colts don't cross the 50 all game. Afterwards, they move to Medicine Hat and join the CFL. That could be bold strategy for you there, for sure. Let's see. Let me fix this. All right. Papa, the Lions must not fall in Sunday's contest as the Pittsburgh Steelers did an evening ago. Yeah, don't repeat their mistakes. 100% with that. JDC, Dre Forge rocks, and he rolls. Dale, subduing Taylor will be key for the defense, getting thin at linebacker, peeps. Yeah, I think the more you can do to force the Colts to be one-dimensional on offense, that's only going to help out the Detroit Lions defense. We are getting a little thin there, but I think that front for Detroit should make it a little bit easier for whoever's in there at linebacker. Brent, my eyes hurt, but I can see a Lombardi in our future! ! Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Rob, Papa Noel, I agree, but DC gets his guys ready. He does indeed, man. All the subordinate coaches, they all do a great job. Quentin Green, sanitation, y'all. Right, Dale, got to keep Indy from hitting on the ground. Agreed. Yeah, keep him one-dimensional. Marcus, go morning, Dan and DC. Can I get a Q&A session with Dan O'Damas? You can do that. I'll see if I can arrange it. See, Patrick, okay, this sounds interesting. Was it really a mistake or divine intervention? Since God knew just how long-suffering we have been for a winner. With me, it's been since 59. Fair enough. Yes, we'll see. And you guys can have your take on it. That's my thoughts on one of the final ingredients I felt that the Lions really needed to go ahead and really become that team, the team we're seeing out here. To me, I know I've spoken about this before. It reminds me, it's very reminiscent of the Detroit Pistons. If you guys remember them back in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, I can still remember clear as day when Bird steals that inbound pass, lays it underneath the DJ, who lays it up, lays it in. And as a Pistons fan back then, I was pretty young. That just destroyed me, man. But I think that singular moment is what ultimately led the Pistons win back-to-back titles. Now, if the Lions can do that, hey, well, I think we'll all be happy. Henry Moore, good morning, Dan. Duke Crew and Coach Dan. Soon heading out to Georgia. I have to stream the game on my phone. Thank goodness I am recording it. Go Lions. Go Lions. Well, go enjoy it, man. Go have a good time. And, hey, hopefully you got a good-sized phone to watch it on. Maybe if you have a laptop or something like that, you can watch it on that as well. Let's see, Flathead Frank. Lions are 9-1 with 4 of the next 5 games at home. Woo! Yeah, and if they can just win the home games there, I think, man, you get to, what's that put you at, 13 wins? It's going to be pretty dang tough for somebody to supplant you as the number 1 seed. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen, but I think you're really putting some pressure on everybody else. So Smoke, good morning, Duke Crew, back at you. Noel Guard, what do you got? Good morning, Dan, the Duke Crew. Thank God it's Friday. Go Lions. Thanks for that. And good to see you this morning, my friend. Southwest Super Bowl bound Detroit Lions got everybody crying. Woo, woo! And you're not wrong, man. When you're beating people down that bad, where professionals have to say, man, no mas, that's probably, that's too bad, man. Anymore. A win over the Bears, and we own all the tiebreakers. Let's go for it, man. Get them all. Don't leave any on the board. Voltron, who's got it better than us? Nobody. Flathead, the Colts can't beat the Lions with that defense. ! Lions 31-20. I'll take it, although I hope it's not that close. Marcus, Lions 38, Colts 16. No quarterback has thrown more than 1 TD this season against the Lions, and Richardson will fall victim to 2 INTs. I hope you are right, man. Big time. Marcus, bring a Colt Henry. It's cold here. Bring a coat Henry. It's cold here in Georgia. Fair enough. Brent, Good running game and defense travel. We have both and much more. Exclamation point. Lions 37-17. Oh, yeah. I'll go with that. All right, guys, it's about time. Let me get one or two more here, and then we'll get our special guest of the day. Lions Talk Live fan, Giovanni Manu for fullback. Now, that's not a bad idea. Not bad at all, because he is athletic. JDC coach and Phil, Joe Collins 79 asked me to let you know he's okay, and his absence is not because of the Lycast or the Jag team. He's just taking a break. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. And thanks for that, JDC. Thank you very much. Bo, Colts scoring early in the mad minute, maybe again in garbage time, 35-14, no field goal. Hooker scores. Let's go with Hooker then, my friend. All right, let's see, JDC, Joe, get your butt back here and enjoy. Let's promote him for that. Yes, get that done. All right, guys, let's go ahead and bring on our special guest of the day. You guys all know him. You love him. He is the host of the Boss Up Balling Out podcast. And, hey, let me get my buttons all set here. And Curt the Hitman Steele, how you doing today?
What up, dude? What's going on, man? Doing great. How you doing there, Dan? Good morning, Dude Crew. How y'all doing this morning?
It's just a great time to be a Lions fan because you've got everything going your way, at least currently, other than the injuries, which they've overcome. But the main topic today was me talking about having somebody been who's coached at different levels, lots of different times. I look back at this year's team, especially with so much national media kind of harping on, hey, man, the Lions are beating us down too bad. Can you pull off the dogs? Do you think what happened in last year's NFC title game is a compelling factor in why we've developed a killer mentality on the field?
I think it's a factor. I think that we let our foot off the gas against the 49ers, and we kind of missed our chance at the Super Bowl last year. But it also goes back into kind of like what Dan Campbell has always been about. Even when he came in, he was always talking about if you're having the mismatch, exploit it as long as you can. If you look at some of the teams he coached on down in New Orleans, man, they didn't let the foot off the gas. They just kept going. I mean, you just play to win. I mean, and for all these people, man, this is the NFL. This is all that crap about, oh, you guys are trying to embarrass people. No, they're just playing football. I mean, and that's the same message from the coaching staff to all the players down. They say, we're just playing football and we're just going to play to win. If you have to complain about it, stop it. I mean, that's the thing. That's the biggest thing. You're professional football players. And in any given Sunday, anybody could win. And if you take your foot off the gas and you put it on the brake, somebody can beat you. Look what happened last night. Who in the hell thought that that lowly Cleveland Browns team, even though it's a division opponent, right? Hardly anybody picked the Browns to win last night, and they got the W. And you can't say the weather because Pittsburgh's an outdoor team too. So
right. And yet somehow Cleveland's beat both Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So they've got some ability, but also I think some of it may be that they're being overlooked by the teams that, man, they can't do that again. So why do you think the national media is, or not all of it, but some of it, and players are coming up saying, man, you guys are just trying to be rude, beat us down. You've had guys in Green Bay and wherever else talking about it. What's up with that this year?
They're not used to the Lions being this good. That's what it is.
I'll go with that.
They're not like the Lions. And you had 3 wins this year of 38 points or more, and all of them belong to the Lions. Every single one of them. Guess what? It's some more coming. Because the Lions are putting people on notice. They're not to be taken lightly. Like all that stuff, same old Lions crap, all that, you guys are still. I saw a video on a guy was calling the Lions a poverty franchise and all that crap like that. Yeah. Nah, man, the Lions are a good team, and you're gonna have to do something to stop them. If you can't stop them, man, just don't complain. It's the NFL, man. People were complaining. We were getting our butts kicked like this for years, for decades. Yeah. So, you can miss me with it. You know what I'm saying? It's this team. I don't even think this team is looking back on the previous years. They're trying to set a precedence on who they are now. And I like the way that they're playing. And I was talking to someone yesterday, and it was always, talking about like I had a stress ball or a backhaul brick, like the little
Yeah.
foam thing. My wife bought me one years ago, and like I don't even know where it is now because I don't need it right now.
I've been talking about this for about a week or maybe a couple weeks, whatever it's been for a while with YouTube. At least to me, you can see there's almost like a calmness this year over the fan base, other than I guess when we lost to Tampa Bay. But for the most part, people are now going into games just expecting to win. Where I can remember when I first really fell in love with the team, it was because, oh gosh, what was it? Rusty Hilger was the quarterback. He was not good. He got his butt kicked all the time. He kept getting knocked down. The fact he kept getting up kind of got me as a kid to really like the guy and the team. But nowadays, people are kind of going to games just expecting to win. How many more massive blowouts do you see this team having before the playoffs?
I'll say we'll probably have a couple. Probably have about 2 or 3, something like that. We might have a couple. I won't say there will be like 30-point wins. I probably maybe like 15 to 20 points.
60-point wins?
No. About 15 to 20, a couple touchdowns.
Fair enough, man.
You look at the back part of the schedule because you got some good games coming up against some division rivals. Those are always tough games. You got the 49ers coming up, the Bills coming up, and then even Sunday with the Colts coming up. They're gonna be a tough team to play at home. So am I expecting a 38-point win this week? Nah, a good 10 to 12-point win probably around is what I'm thinking. On the road, it's hard to blow people out on the road except for Dallas. They just getting boat raced in their stadium. Everybody's doing it to Dallas, so for us to do it, it wasn't an anomaly. Everybody's whooping the Cowboys in their own stadium. So but Indy's a good team, so they're gonna put up a fight.
Okay. Who gets the Lions' share of the credit for the depth on Detroit? Is it the coaches for development? Is the front office and the scouting department? I mean, because let's be fair, most other teams, I'll even say probably 80 to maybe 90% of the NFL teams, if they had the amount of injuries on one side of the ball like Detroit has with the defense, they would not survive it. But the fact that they're actually kind of surviving it and doing fairly well, I think somebody needs some credit here.
I think it's all encompassing. You look at the scouts and the type of players they bring in because they work hand in hand with the coaching staff. They have these huge meetings on personnel. So and then of course it's down to Dan and Brad of who they keep. And then the development for the coaches and the fact that the mentality that the coaching staff instills in these young guys, where they're telling them, they're like, we don't care if you're on the practice squad. We don't care where you are on the depth chart. You're a part of this team and you're expected to be a part and you're going to play for us at some point this season. So that's the big thing. Like they instill in these guys, they believe in them. And it's like, hey, you guys, you are going to have a key role in this team. Don't rest on your laurels. They practice hard from top to bottom. It doesn't matter if you're active roster, practice squad, vet squad, anything. They practice them hard. And you look at what Zadarius Smith said the other day. He was like, Coach Campbell, you mess up a rep, it's like the end of the world. But Here's the thing: when you make practice hard, the games become easy.
So go ahead.
Yeah, you practice difficult. That makes it when you actually have to go out on the field to do it. That is not saying it's going to be completely easy, but it makes it easier when you practice hard. Like when I was a NCO in the military, I always train my soldiers hard. Like I trained them hard in garrison. So when we got into into theater or into a deployment, it wasn't as hard because we already did the hard, stressful stuff back in the garrison. So I trained them hard. So when they actually had to do their job, it was easy.
Let's talk real quick about Terrion Arnold because I think there's at least some potential that he might not play this weekend. But I've been saying it for a while. I think for about the last month or so, the light really seems to be going on with him. The switch has been flipped. How good do you think he can still become before the playoffs?
Oh, he could definitely be one of those guys that You don't really. I mean, if you look at the secondary as a whole, I mean, it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's kind of hard to just get a where you can just pick on one guy the whole game.
Right.
So, I mean, early in the season where he was getting all those penalties and the holding and stuff like that. But the one thing I would say about Trey Arnold, he's always in phase. He's always there. It's not like he's getting somebody's running past him down the field. The biggest problem with him is like he's not turning his head to see the ball. So with that, if he can be one of those guys where he could be, I won't say he can be elite this year, but he could be pretty daggone good.
So in regards to if you had to pick one weakness that the Lions have to address, say the rest of this regular season before the postseason, because I think they're going to make the postseason. It just comes down to, will they win the North? Will they be the number one seed, et cetera? What are one or two things you really feel like this team needs to kind of gel with, improve to get ready for really that Super Bowl run?
I would just say just tighten that pass rush up. You know what I'm saying? More. We're getting pressures, but we're not getting the quarterback to the ground. And everybody says, sacks aren't important. I like sacks myself. Are they the end all be all? Absolutely not. But I would like that to be addressed. And I would think that, now that the secondary's playing the way they're playing, just be able to mix coverages up. You know what I'm saying? Get that communication in the back so you don't have to play man. We're great at man, but it's always good to have some zone mixed in there too, just to mix looks up, because it's one of those things where you can mix up, you can disguise looks when you can do that, and I think that's one of the things that, and I think that they're working on it where they're getting better at zone, but they're still, I don't think they're where they need to be at within zone coverage.
Okay.
Let's
talk about
nothing.
No, go ahead.
On the offense, absolutely nothing.
All right.
I have absolutely no problems with nothing on the offense. Absolutely nothing.
So let's talk about the just one other thing, man. He got me distracted there for a second. For the Colts, what do you think that Aaron Glenn's going to do to try to contain Anthony Richardson? Because in my opinion, and I'm going to guess a few people will have this, if he really doesn't have a great game, the Colts probably don't have much of a chance this weekend. But if you agree with that, what are you doing as AG to limit him?
I'm going to talk about it later on my show, but just a little bit. I will give you just a sneak peek. Keep him confused. That's one of the keep him confused. If you can keep him confused, young quarterbacks do not do well with confusion. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about him, if you can, and there's multiple ways to keep a quarterback confused, especially a player like him. You have to while you confuse him, you have to keep him in the pocket too, because you know what he can do with his legs. So, and the thing is that with his limited starting experience at the college and pro level, there's so much that they can throw out there to kind of just confuse them. I mean, you look at what Kirby Joseph said the other day, and on Inside the Pride, where he was like, he takes pride in confusing quarterbacks, veteran, right. And where he smiles, he moves around, he's always moving, he's always saying something, and all of a sudden he's baiting somebody into a bad throw. So, I mean, look at the crisis he caused that first week. I mean, week one, where they're saying, "Oh, they wore different colors, they wore the wrong colors," and blah blah yada yada.
Right, I forgot about that.
He just baited you into a bad throw. You thought you saw something that was there, and it was not. So, it is what it is.
It cracks me up about that. Now you remind me about the uniform stuff. Because, man, Stafford, when he was here in Detroit, that would have been in his favor for a number of years. So the fact they were crying about it, I don't know. And he nearly threw a few other picks. That the background had nothing to do with it. But
nope.
All right. Last question I got for you, because I know you got to get ready for your show and stuff. But just since we're talking about Kirby Joseph, we talked about Arnold. How different is this Lions secondary from a year ago? And then also, just how good is the combo of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph?
All right, so I'll take the second one first.
Okay.
Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are the best safety duo in the league. because they both can do so much. Where they both can be in run support, they both can, they both can blitz, they both can play coverage, they both can disguise and bait people into bad throws. I mean, you look at the interception that the Kirby had in the last game, where he kind of just baited Mac Jones, where he baited Mason Rudolph against the Titans. And then you look at how Brian Branch baited Sam Darnold in the Vikings game, where he thought he had an open receiver, and all of a sudden the ball is getting intercepted. So these guys, and they mix and match, and they can move up and move around, and they play off each other so well. So they're the best safety talent in the league by far. They both have elite grades by PFF, and they've shown it. For the secondary, it is a total like 180 from last year. Like, I don't have to worry about the secondary, Like, yeah, they give us some plays, they give us some yards, but when it's red zone, or we're not giving up. We're not giving up. We give up passing yards, but we don't give up passing touchdowns. Like, no quarterback has had 2 passing touchdowns against the Lions all year. Like, it's like,
ain't that something compared to like the last several years?
Yeah. So, the secondary, Aaron Glenn has the secondary playing at an elite level, and Townsend, and you look at the players and the guys that Brad Holmes brought in. I love, it's just a complete turnaround from last year. I mean, and you have a couple guys that were still here from the last couple of years, but the guys that have taken over their starting spots. I mean, and that leaves a player like that you really like, that some people players that we like on the outside, like a Iffy, like,
right.
He doesn't have a starting spot when he comes back. He just doesn't. So, but I like the next mentality of this team. We don't cry. Somebody goes down, and you just the next man up, and everyone plays like they're a starter.
I like that too, man. One last thing, just real quick. Do you think Iffy Melifonwu is a Detroit Lion next year?
Sadly, I don't think so.
Yeah,
sadly, I don't think so.
I think it's going to be tough because Brandon Joseph and Lauren Strickland I think they're pretty dang good. And not that Iffy isn't, but your best ability is
availability, baby.
Right.
Too easy.
All right. Curt Steele, I want to thank you as always for your wonderful insights, takes, etc. He is the host of the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out? Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can like, subscribe, and hear you talk about the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, you can check me out. Boss Up Ball Out podcast. It has the Detroit Lions on the moniker. You look at you see this logo. That's our channel right there. We're going live today at 8:00. So make sure you tune in, man. We're going keys to victory for the Lions versus the Indianapolis Colts this weekend. So make sure you tune in. And tomorrow we'll have our prediction show. But make sure you tune in today, 8:00, man. We're live, baby. So we'll see you there.
We'll see you then, my friend.
All right. Talk to you soon. See you there.
Have a good one now. All right, let's get back to the Duke Crew here. We got about 10 minutes to go. To me, one of the things watching when I came up with this topic for today, one of the hardest lessons I had to learn as a coach, I think DC has gone through to a degree. You can be a great human being, doesn't mean you can't be a pain in the butt coach. So what I mean by that, there's a lot of my friends that I've gotten to know over the years and decades that say, man, when you're a coach, you're a completely different person. And they're right, because my job as a coach is to do what's best for the team I'm coaching. And again, it doesn't matter the sport, if it's football, basketball, volleyball, or whatever. You got to flip that switch. And that's one thing I'll probably take to my grave that I can really credit my brother Tim for teaching me when I was probably like 6, 7, 8 years old. He was a big time, was when he was younger, big time boxer and martial artist. And I remember he would give me $1 for every minute I could stay in the ring with him. And conversely, every time I got to about $3, that was probably time for me to tap out. But in sports, it's not like real life or the rest of the world. You can't be the good person, everybody, because your job is to go out there and beat that other team. Dan Campbell, in my opinion, when you first seen him become the head coach of the Detroit Lions, just little things here and there, the first season, second season, you could see there were some situations him, AG, everybody had to learn to do differently. That's something experience only teaches you. And then as a head coach, it's tough, especially if you know the other coach on the other sideline that, and you may have a lot of respect for them. They may be best buds, but your job at the end of the day isn't to worry about, maintaining that friendship during the game. It's, hey, what do I have to do to put my team in the best position to win? And if that means, hey, we're up 14 and it's halfway through the third quarter, I got to score more points here to make sure you have no chance to come back. You have to do it. And your friends sometimes and other coaches might complain about it. But you know what? I also am going to get complained about it and maybe get fired if I don't win those games. So it's a tough part, man. And it's the downside to coaching is some people can overreact and take it the wrong way. There's one thing if you're up like, 40 points with, 3 minutes left. Okay, you probably don't need to score more. You can probably, back up at that point. But hopefully you guys get my gist. If there's reasonable expectation or opportunity for somebody to make a comeback, you don't put your foot through them. You don't finish that game. Somebody comes back and wins. That will haunt you to the end of your days. And I can tell you through personal experience, you don't ever want to deal with that noise as a coach. Let's see, Trump Hooker looked good too. Yeah, he's, I hope he can continue to get some snaps here and there, continue his development. See, Trump's hope we get a game late in the season where Hooker can start. Yeah, maybe week 18, the final game of the regular season. Maybe the Lions, I don't know, give somebody a chance. My personal take as a coach, the Lions get to that final regular season game and they don't need the win. I probably still have the starters in there, assuming we've got the number 1 seed for a half, just so, you're going to have almost 2 weeks off. I don't want them getting rusty. I don't want them, the body's forgetting about what that impact feels like, because the body does forget what that physical abuse is like. And in football, especially at the NFL level, you want your body to maintain a normality with it. So I would just say let them play for a half and then get them out. And then, maybe have Hooker start the second half. Sarge, good morning. Dan Ducru. First Super Bowl was in the Silver Dome. How do we get one in Ford Field? Hey, how do you get one in Ford Field? You're going to have everybody in Michigan, the governor, everybody get behind it and get the NFL to grant it to you. Whether or not that will happen, wait and see. Camouflage game, yes, I remember that, man. That cracked me up. I remember doing a video on it, and that just cracked me up, the fact that Stafford and some of the Rams were all about that. Samuel, man, for the NFC Championship, Journey played at halftime and literally got the crowd believing in a comeback. Don't stop faithfully. I think that was literally the difference. Could be indeed 100%, man. Stay winning. What up? Question mark. First time going live. Woo! Well, hey, welcome to it. And just because it's your first time, we'll give you a. And there you go. Miles Martin, stay winning. Woo! I'll go with that. JDC, Puff, woo! Coffee and Lions Talk Live. Always got to love that combination. Phil, good morning. Back at you, my friend. Hopefully it's a great day. Rob, if the Lions make the Super Bowl, there's going to be one heck of a Super Bowl party in Motown. You're not wrong, man, and I'll be going to it. Let's see. Trump's don't throw 5-yard passes when we need 7 yards. I will go with that. Agreed. Trump's yards. Yeah, I knew we were going with that, man. Let's see. Dunk Kong. Don't bet on the Lions if Vildor has to start. Okay, fair enough. I do think he's not a bad backup quarterback by any stretch. It's just, unfortunately, man, if you're a Lions fan, you're probably always going to associate him with that dropped interception turn 51-yard gain. Let's see, as 411, welcome Bryce Underwood to the University of Michigan, biggest recruit to get number 1 hailed to the victors. I did see that yesterday, and that's, hey, NIL is what it is, but hey, if you're the University of Michigan and you're in their fan base, you probably are loving today right now or yesterday. JDC, Trump's genius. Bay, do I remember those days? 100%. Boy, do I remember those days. Excuse me. As go Lions, I'll go with that. Trump's Vilder was our best cornerback late last year. He probably was, to be fair. And if he wasn't, it was probably neck and neck with somebody else. He didn't do bad. It's just, again, a bad moment for him. Don, we might see Emmanuel Mosley activated this week if Terrion Arnold is dinged up. Could be 100% with that. And, again, just because he played the Bears and Green Bay in the following games after Sunday, I probably, if he's having any kind of issue with it, I probably would sit Arnold just to let him, heal up a little bit more. M. Barry, what's up with the topic title? We were just talking about the learning opportunity, and this is coach speak here, the learning opportunity that was the 49ers game in the NFC Championship that led into this season. It's also why I think you see this team have a real killer mentality this year. Not that they didn't last year. It's just, in my opinion, gone to another level. They've figured out, man, you get any opportunity, any sign of weakness from the other team, you bury them. You put them through the ground. You give them zero chance to come back. And I think, yeah, they're not messing around with teams because of it. I believe that game still kind of resonates with the coaches and the players. Now, Dan is spot on regarding kicking the field goal to go back up 17 midway through the third in the NFC title game. Yeah, for that matter, Campbell should have kicked the second field goal as well. A learning experience for MCDC. Yeah, obviously hindsight's always 20/20. I can only tell you, this is my opinion. It doesn't mean yours can't be different. But I was yelling and screaming at everybody in the comments section, the TV, Jen. I probably had a blowhorn out to the neighbors. Man, kick that field goal, because if you don't get it, which obviously they didn't, you've now given them momentum in their place in a key moment, and they just kicked a field goal. What do they do the first play afterwards? They throw the big bomb. Vildor doesn't drop it. Momentum is no joke, man, especially it's one thing if you have a team that's been through that moment. Maybe even if you're at home for that moment, you say, you know what, the crowd's going to support us, give us that energy. But you can feel in an arena or on a field when that crowd gets against you, when momentum starts getting it, we can all say one thing. We can all say, hey, when we're comfy in the sidelines or up in the booth or stands, it's a completely different world than when you're having to make pressure-filled decisions and reaction to things during the game when you're actually playing. And again, if the Lions make that fourth down, okay, that game's probably over. They didn't. If they kick the field goal and they miss it, all right, now you got momentum going for San Francisco too. I get that. But I don't think it's one thing, them not getting that fourth down and then immediately afterwards, that big pass where Vildor drops it off his face mask. I think the two emotionally are tied, but that's my take. And again, it's just from my take as a coach for over the years. Let's see, Flathead. Gibbs needs to get more involved in the pass game, and Laporta needs to return to his play last year. Exclamation point. J-Mo needs more touches in the run game. Woo! I'll go with that. All of the above. Let's see, Sarge, 9-1, 10-1, 11-1, 12-1, 13-1, 14-1, 10-1, 15-1, 16-1. PO win, Super Bowl. Woo! I like the way you've mapped that out. JDC, woo! Hey, we are wounded up in here. Brent, first Lions team I've seen where next man up doesn't mean our season is toast. Kudos to Brad and MCDC for building it the right way. Yeah, they've got tons of depth on this team. No doubt about it. Trumps, in the playoffs, you got to take your 3 points. We are good enough on defense now. And that's the other thing with it, man. It just, again, everybody can have a different opinion. It's just my take on it. Going back to that title game, you go back up 17. I think it is a very makeable field goal for Badgley in that game, especially with the weather or whatever. And again, you've exhausted half the third quarter. So don't hold me to this, but I'm saying that puts the game around, 20, 22 minutes left, something like that. And if you force them to just dink and dunk the ball down the field, even if they go down and score a touchdown, they're probably going to take 5 minutes off the clock. So now there's 16 minutes left. If you believe in your offense to go down there and at least get a field goal, you're probably taking another 3 to 4 minutes off. You put a ton of pressure on the 49ers. And again, we could Scooby-Doo this all day. Doesn't mean I'm right, you're wrong, or anything. It just, that's my take on it. Sarge, right on, Brent. I'm down with that. Stay winning. Thanks, Miles Margaret. 100%. Joseph, hey, Coach, how about a shadow? I guess the right. Okay. All right. We'll see what we can do. Hookadoo. They had the Super Bowl at Ford Field in 2006. Correct. JP, Ford Field did host the Super Bowl a couple of years after it was built. Correct. Yeah. I want to say, was the Seahawks versus somebody in it? Seahawks versus the Panthers? I don't remember. No, that doesn't make sense, but you guys got it. I want to say the Seahawks were involved, though. Don, I'm going to go back and hurt my feelings this morning and go rewatch the 49 games from last year. Go enjoy it, man, and have a Mountain Dew with it. James, when he said you're getting your butts kicked for years, I'd be willing to bet everyone listening, including me, said decades. Probably true. Dimitri, Don Burr, what up, though? Detroit, exclamation points. You tell Trump, yeah, okay, yep, let's keep the politics out of here. And I did see when I was kind of talking to Curt Steele, some political stuff. Guys, don't do that in here, man. Don't make me have to ban you or block you or something like that. Just you want to go talk politics, go do it on their show. And Trump, I'm going to call you out, man, because you know what? Don't be a sucker like that. You've been in here long enough. You don't want me going into your house being disrespectful. Don't do it in mine. If you're that kind of person, then you need to get the heck on out of here, man, because, again, don't be a rude person like that, man. You know the rules here. You know what the expectations are. If you can't control yourself, go the heck somewhere else. I don't talk. I don't go into your church and try to mess up stuff, start yelling about the devil, whatever. I don't go into your daughter's wedding and talk about stuff about who she used to date or whatever. That's some rude, childish, 6-year-old stuff. So if you're that kind of person, look in the mirror and say, man, I'm a real dick. All right, enough of that. Rob, it happened to the Six Nations in rugby back in 2009 or so. England kicked off after regulation expired and Scotland kept it alive 10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to win. JDC, only Dan Campbell's brain knows what is going on in that particular point in the game. And it don't give a rat's bahootie about what we think. Probably also true. Justin, I don't think he's going to start a game. Probably not. Not this year, at least. Maybe in the future. Who knows? Rob, France kicked for a touch in a similar situation the following week. Scotland cried, but rugby is rugby. It is. Stay winning. Lions Talk Live is the dopest. Go Lions. Hey, thanks for that, man. Thank you very much. You know what? You are too. Dimitri, Don Burr, you feel me, bro? I'll go with that. JDC, Lions Talk Live, the factory. Patrick, do we get any kind of commitment being 1 year from Bryce Underwood for the $10.5 million? Yeah, that I don't know, man. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. So, Patrick, unfortunately, I can't help with that. Let's see, Dimitri Flintstone. Yep, I'll go with that. Trump's, let's see, hard to give Laporta and the opportunities when you have J-Mo and St. Brown. Correct with that. Let's see, Bo, happy trails, new crew, all done and dusted for this Friday. See you later. We'll see you on the next time, my friend. JDC, happy trails, go Lions victory. Dale, Seahawks Steelers. Thanks for that, man. It was the Steelers. Okay. Kim, very interesting comments regarding depth. Just a few weeks ago, many fans were shouting to trade the farm to get a big name player. That's also true. The fumble killed us. Okay. The fumble did not help in the title game for sure. That definitely added to the momentum. Dennis, go blue. Sean P, Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. Thank you for that. Let's see. Brian, it was just wanted to say good morning, everyone. Go Lions. Back at you, Brian. Hopefully it's a good day for you. The JP, well said. Bo, coach, 100%. JP, I have had him blocked as long as Broski. Okay. We can do it. Happy trails, new crew. Well played with grit. Oh yeah. JDC, I accidentally blocked myself. Hey, don't do that, man. Drew, right on, coach. Your show, your rules. Happy Friday, coach and Dooku. Same to you guys all, man. Miles Margaret, 9-1. Trumps, hey, man, just don't do it anymore, man. I get you're very passionate about it. Nothing wrong with having passion, but also don't bring that into the wrong situation. This is sports only, no politics. Let's see, Dimitri, Dan, love it, bro. Thank you. Anytime, my friend. Brian, let's hope Stafford and the Rams can take care of Philadelphia this weekend. Let's hope so too, man. That would be nice. Luke, blessed day, happy Friday. Same to you, Patrick. I agree with you. Keep the politics out of the sports. Yes, I don't want that stuff in here, man. Let's see, Avery, man, Garrett is no joke. Wish we could have snagged him. That would have been awesome. All right, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Also, if you'll be so kind as you're checking out, hit that thumbs up button. If there is some sort of breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Other than that, be a good human being. Be nice to each other. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?